Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time doing another Spidey-tember episode review. And this one is on Episode 1, Night of the Lizard. Now, as you know, Spider-Man the Animated Series was a 1994 cartoon that lasted from November the 19th, 1994, all the way to January the 21st, 1998. And I think what's interesting is, much like X-Men, the animated series, there were elements from other Spider-Man comics used for Spider-Man, the animated series, with a few tweaks and differences. So I think what's actually interesting about Spider-Man, the animated series, was how Christopher Daniel Burns, who voiced Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid, would go on to voice Peter Parker. And I think it isn't a bad choice. Like, he sounds like this young college student who's trying to figure his life out and is trying to deal with these responsibilities. So the premise of the episode Night of the Lizard is meant to feature how Peter Parker discovers that his science teacher, Dr. Kurt Connors, has pretty much been turned into the giant mutant supervillain, the Lizard. And throughout the episode, Dr. Kurt Connors from going too far, as well as aiming to get the $1,000 reward and beating Eddie Brock to it before he ruins Dr. Kurt Connors' life. And I think the episode isn't too bad. Like, it's setting up to what the characters are gonna be. Like, Peter trying to do the right thing and discovering that, Aunt May's financial problems. We do kind of see how J. Jonah Jameson is meant to be a bit of a tightwad. And I think it's interesting to hear Ed Asner being the voice for Jameson, and I think was a better fit than the previous actor that I did talk about for Spider-Man the Animated Series. And I think Eddie Brock here works more the same with Spectacular Spider-Man. I think, Spectacular Spider-Man's Eddie Brock wanted to believe he was the good guy and was quick to call out people for being selfish and inconsiderate. Eddie Brock here is meant to be a bit of a smug, but he knows how to make it clear. I think Kasari is not a bad choice for Eddie Brock. And I think it's also interesting as well, we kind of see the episode itself being a bit like a prototype version to the Spectacular Spider-Man episode, Natural Selection. I think Natural Selection was the better episode because you did see a lot of repercussions from Peter's actions. You did kind of see how a lot of people who worked with Peter lost his trust. And you can even tell Martha found it hard to trust Peter and had to fire him. Here, it does kind of show that, Peter handled it more responsibly here. And we do kind of see how, Eddie was more determined to ruin Kurt Connor's life. And this will become more of a habit throughout Season 1, where Eddie Brock is going to constantly blame Spider-Man for his own faults and shortcomings, as the point of Season 1 is that the only thing Eddie blames is Peter Parker, but never blaming himself. And I feel Night of the Lizard is like a monster movie. It feels like those old 60s horror films where it's gonna have a character mutate themselves, it's gonna have them become some monstrosity, and it's gonna have the main hero set out to stop the main villain. And I think here, it feels like a good piloted episode. It's giving you where, Peter wants to do the right thing. He feels responsible for Kurt Connors. And you can tell Kurt Connors starts to kind of realize his own mistakes. And I think this one does feel like a prototype to the Spectacular Spider-Man episode, Natural Selection. Because I think Natural Selection was the better one, because it built up more conflicts. We saw how characters were shown for who they truly were. We saw how trust, betrayal, and even where some characters were gonna be then. Here, I think Season 1's first episode is going to be one of those status quo episodes. We are going to see where some characters are going to have their sort of title role. Like, Eddie Brock being more kind of the sleazeball. We're going to see Jameson constantly calling out Eddie for being incompetent. And I think It's not the best, but it still deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.